Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I'm going to be documenting this photo here using my November kit from the Wild Hare Kits. This is a photo of me and my son Connor and then my sister Kimber photobombing in the background. I just love this photo. It's from my stepsister's wedding, and I'm going to do something totally different and out of my comfort zone today. So I am moving into a 6x8 scrapbook album instead of my traveler's notebook, and this is allowing for some new creative ways of scrapbooking that I haven't done before. So what I have here is a 6x8 sheet of 110-pound cardstock, and I'm going to be doing some mixed media. So I've got some clear gesso that I'm just scraping across the surface of the cardstock with a card. This is a pretty thick cardstock, but I'm going to be using some water, and so I want to make sure that I just kind of reinforce it with this clear gesso. As you can see here, I kind of picked up paint or something that was on my craft sheet and smeared it all over the page. I could have started over, but I figure, you know what, it's going to be mixed media, it's going to be messy, so let's just roll with it. So it ends up being mostly covered in the end. What I have here is a stencil from Tim Holtz. This was not in my kit, this is from my stash, and I am going to use some texture paste through the stencil. So I've dried the gesso on the background, and I'm going to go ahead and just tape down the stencil. And one fun thing about working in separate pages like this is I can kind of go wild with mixed media and not worry about chunk or messing up a traveler's notebook. I have a lot more space to play. I'm kind of enjoying it. So I have some Ranger texture paste. Everything will be linked down below that I mentioned in the video. And I'm just using a plastic palette knife to scrape it through the stencil. Now, I will admit I was pretty reserved and hesitant with this page because it was so out of my comfort zone and not something I had done before. So I'm trying to just apply a little bit of this texture behind where the photo is going to go. I probably could have done more of this than I ended up doing, but I know for next time I survived. It turned out really good, and so next time I can kind of go a little bit crazy. But I'm going to also add it in the bottom right hand corner of the photo. And so here I'm kind of fussing with trying to figure out where to lay the stencil. You just have to be careful with texture paste because it can be messy, and I don't want to lay the stencil down where it's already wet. So I'm going to scrape things off, dry that little patch first, because at this point I don't want to mess it up and have to start over. I'm kind of stubborn like that. So that top left hand corner is dry, and now I can go ahead and reposition my stencil and then add in some more of this paste. Now, you do want to make sure that when you're working with texture paste, you immediately clean up your surface, your tools that you use, your stencils. Everything that gets touched with this needs to be cleaned up, because once it dries, it's like cement and it's hard to get off of anything. So I'm working on a non-stick craft mat to protect my desk surface, and immediately I go over and wash my stencil. So that is all dried. I'm just careful when I'm drying it with the heat tool because it will kind of cause it to bubble if you're not careful, but at this point it's completely dry. And I'm going to go in with some Distress Oxide inks and smush them over the top of this texture to really kind of bring out the pattern and bring in some of the colors that I'll be using. So I've got Tattered Rose Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just smushing the ink pad onto that plastic packaging, spraying it with some water. I also spray the page with some water. That helps so that you don't get like that perfect square impression when you stamp it down. And I am just very carefully kind of stamping down some color along this diagonal area here. And I did go in twice because, like I said, the first time I was a little reserved and a little scared, but now I can go in with a lot more water, a lot more color, and really bring in this soft peachy pink color that's in the papers and stickers I'll be using from these collections over there. I do add a little spray of water to get things kind of moving and dripping, and this is where that clear gesso comes into play because it's protected this cardstock, so there is some warping, but not as bad as it would have been if I hadn't prepped it first. So I'm going in with some Gathered Twigs Distress Oxide ink. This is a brown that dries with these kind of green oxide colors that come out. I know this seems like, whoa, Lindsey, what are you doing? But it needed some contrast, and this brown really kind of helps intensify that texture of the stenciling in the background, and will also pull in some of the browns and darker shades of these collections I'm going to use. So I dry that. And then here you can see there's just a little bit poking out behind my photo. Like I said, I probably could have added more, but it's okay. For the first time around, I was just being careful. So I'm going to use this paper from the Emerson Lane collection. This was in my November kit to back my photo. I'm going to be honest, this kit is hands down my favorite kit that I've ever gotten from the Wild Hare Kits, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a good thing because it's beautiful. It's bad because I want to hoard every single piece and I'm scared to use any of it because I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up or change my mind or want to use it on something different, or I don't know. I was just super scared to use anything. Like that floral paper, I really wanted to incorporate that, but I just could not bring myself to cut it apart or touch it yet. So I just went ahead and cut a little bit of that wood grain paper behind the photo. Now, when I edited this photo, it was actually a color photo, and I did add a little bit of a warming filter to it, just to warm the photo enough that it will go well with these browns and deep burgundies and things in these collections. So that was something that I did ahead of time going into this page. I've also pulled out that little card is from the Auburn Lane collection from Pink Paisley. That was in my kit this month. And then these photo corners from Heidi Swapp. I mentioned in the unboxing video, if you did not watch that, it'll be linked down below. I am obsessed with these. I think that we need to bring these back for all time. And I really love bringing in this little pop of gold, and it just adds some more detail to that photo and kind of dresses it up a little bit. So I'm adding those to the corners of the photo, not the corners of the paper that's behind it. And it was a little finicky to get them so that they're, you know, straight. They kind of tattle on you if you didn't cut your papers straight. So it took me a minute to get them kind of even there. And at this point, on and off camera, I play around with a whole bunch of the Heidi Swapp Emerson Lane stickers, the Pink Paisley Auburn Lane ephemera, and things like that before I figure out exactly what I want. But I'm going to just start sticking things down. I am using a liquid glue. This is the Tombow Mono Multi. For the things that are being adhered down over the top of that texture paste. If I was just to use my dry adhesive tape runner, it would not stick as well. So I'm sure to apply plenty of adhesive. I probably could have popped this up on some foam squares. Since I am putting it in an album, I can have a little bit more dimension, but I decided to just kind of keep it a little more flat for this time around. And here's where those photo corners are kind of tattling on me that I'm crooked, so I can still move things around. That's the nice thing about using the liquid adhesive, is you have some time to kind of shift things if you need to. And you can see there is some warping to this cardstock, but it's not too bad, and I'm sure it'll flatten over time, especially if I put something heavy on top of it. So this sticker sheet is from the Heidi Swapp Emerson Lane collection, and I've pulled this Choose Happy. That's going to be my title for this. And this, like I said, was at my stepsister's wedding, and like any wedding, there's a lot of stress, and when you get a lot of family together, there's a lot more stress. And so I just love this photo. It captured just how awesome my sister is, and she just brings such joy to any moment. I mean, she is just awesome, just with her poking in, and she's so good with my boys, and she is definitely my rock star for sure. So I just love this photo that we captured from that weekend. I went ahead and pulled out that heart is a piece from the Pink Paisley Auburn Lane collection. I'm going to try not to confuse Auburn Lane and Emerson Lane. So Heidi Swapp is Emerson Lane, Pink Paisley is Auburn Lane, and I used both those collections because they paired so well. So those heart stickers are from Emerson, and you can see they really match well with the Auburn Lane collection, and that gray heart kind of pulled some of those grays from the photo down into the spread to kind of pull things together here. This date sticker is going to go down there just to kind of bring your eye further down to the bottom right hand corner. And these rub-on transfers are awesome. I need these in every collection ever. They are so fun to just add little pops of color and interest in different places. I've played with these in my Bible journaling before, but never in memory keeping. And the ones that I did play with were from like the Target dollar spot, and they were good, they were fun, but when you get real ones, nice ones, the quality is so much better. So I'm going to town rubbing this like crazy because I'm afraid it's not gonna adhere down very well, but I didn't need to rub it that much. These are really great quality. They transfer really easily. I didn't have any problems with it being patchy or weird, or sometimes like if you stick it down and it picks up the edge of another image. I didn't have any issues with that. So I'm just adding a little sprinkling of hearts and a little flower just to create a little cluster down here. Again, just to kind of balance out. I've never worked on a big piece of white cardstock like this before, so working on all that white space was a little intimidating, but it was fun. I'm excited to kind of move into this bigger album, and I will still do some projects in Traveler's Notebooks, but this will be fun. So I hope you guys are ready to see some bigger scrapbooking layouts for a little bit. Typically I print and cut my journaling, but I decided for this one I'm just going to go ahead and handwrite it on there. I think it's important to have your handwriting in your memory keeping. Just, you know, think of the times that you get to go back and look at your grandmother's recipe cards and things like that. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your journaling for your own kids and grandkids. So added a little bit of journaling down at the bottom, and that is pretty much it. So like I said, I am obsessed with November's kit from the Wild Hare Kits. You can check out that unboxing down below. Go check out their website, order a kit for yourself. You are not going to regret it. They are amazing. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. Check out the description box for links to everything that I used in the video today. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.